Good evening. Welcome to May 12th, 2020 Planning Board meeting. I believe the first item on the agenda is the conceptual for Center Brook. Am I right? Since we usually do conceptual first. I don't have my agenda with me.
I don't know, Eversource.
Eversource first? Okay, we'll do Eversource first. Come on up, gentlemen. Please state your name and all that kind of good stuff for the record. And since Naomi's not here, please, everybody has to speak loudly, so she's gonna be doing this on off YouTube.
My name's Andrew King. I'm the regional arborist for Eversource Energy.
And I'm Austin Ford. I'm a contractor for Eversource.
So we're here because we're asking to trim and do some hazard tree removals on Mount Dearborn Road, which is a scenic road. I have some copies of the hazard trees that we were planning on taking. We have blue and white checkered tape that's on them, and so you can drive by and you can see them. The trees specifically are labeled as hazards. Most commonly, they're ash trees in decline for emerald ash borer. It's an issue now. It's probably only going to become more of an issue in the future because there's nothing stopping it, and the trees die relatively quickly, 2 to 3 years, and they seem, I don't know any science on it, but they seem to fail at fairly large branches, so it's going to be kind of a problem going forward. The trimming that we're going to be doing is the standard scheduled maintenance trimming where we prune 15 feet above the wire, 8 feet on either side, and then 10 feet below it. That's kind of the gist of what we were planning on doing.
You defined it as hazard,
Yes.
so is there a specific definition to hazard as opposed to standard maintenance? I mean, is this a tree that's gonna come across the road? Or is this
So-
just stuff you say, all right, it's dying, it's an ash tree, and we just need to trim it so it doesn't take power lines out?
No. So a hazard tree is going to be removal.
Okay,
So a hazard tree has to have a known defect or a visual defect and a target.
okay,
So as I see it, and in my role as the utility arborist, the target never moves. The power lines are there all the time, so there's always a target. Some people argue about target when it deals with people because people move back and forth and they're not always there. But the wires are always there. And the known defect now is emerald ash borer.
okay.
There are others. There's a very prominent oak tree leaning at like 45 degrees over the road in the wires.
I'll
That-
show you a picture of another one on Flanders Memorial when we're done talking.
Okay.
It's been in my side for a while, I've mentioned
Okay,
it,
sure.
so.
Yeah, so there's the definition of a hazard when it comes to tree work or arboriculture is a known defect in a target that can, cause property damage or personal harm.
Are you gonna take any of the maples that are half rotten down? Because there's several of them on that road.
So I don't specifically know if they're all tagged, but as I was driving there this afternoon, I saw some. And this is sometimes where I don't have a hard time, but I feel bad saying it. I'm charged with taking care of the lines. So if we can look at it and say that it's not a hazard to our lines, then I really can't do all of the removals. Like, it can be a conversation for sure, but I can't do,
No, I wouldn't want you to clear cut it.
right. But no, there's a stretch that there's 3 or 4 that didn't look very, very good.
Are you doing the whole length of Mount Dearborn Road from?
Yes,
When are you planning on doing it?
this year. So we contract out, and when we give the circuits to the contractor, we don't tell them how to do the work or when to do the work. It's up to them to kind of plan out their work and how they can allocate resources and get crews in. So I can't really give you a firm date, unfortunately.
One more, with regard to the landowner, if it's tree on private property or landowner, is it felled and then set aside, and is the landowner
Yeah.
said, hey, you have wood here, if you want it, come and get it, or how does that work?
So, so this hearing is in addition to the permissioning that we do with landowners.
Okay.
So somebody's talked to the landowner, and that's an arrangement between the landowner. Typically, the wood would leave. The tree would be removed. It'd be on the ground. The brush would be chipped up.
Mm-hmm.
And typically, the wood would stay unless there's an agreement with the landowner to remove the wood.
Okay, okay.
Anybody else have any questions?
I'd like to take a drive up through there before we,
Yeah, I was going to, and I didn't do it. I got a flat tire today. Anybody from the public like to speak?
No, the only reason I came is if there
Oh,
was a
you got-
competition against it.
If you're gonna say anything, you come up here to the podium
Come
and
up the
state your name.
podium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say my name if you're
Okay.
gonna say your name.
A copy of those are planned removals.
Hi, I'm Kate Richards.
Hi.
I'm married to Dave Richards, so I'll say for both of us that we own property on Mount Jerome Road, and we're all in favor of the trees being taken down that are unsafe and gonna knock out the power 100,000 times a winter. So yes, we'd be very happy if those trees were taken down. And I did take a ride. I took a ride from, I only got as far as Neil Kirk's house, which I think most people know where that is, just past our sugar house. And I think I counted 12 trees that are tagged between 149 and Neil Kirk's. So it's nothing excessive, it's nothing that I would ever be in disagreement with doing. So yeah, please, I hope you get the trees down. Thanks.
Thank you.
so I know you said your line wasn't, your lines are your priority.
Yes.
So there's a birch tree that goes up between the middle of the
Yep,
line.
yeah, I saw
That
that.
does not have a tag on it.
It does, and I noticed that today, so
So-
I was,
Yeah, yeah, because I went up there today to make sure I was
It looks
paying
lovely.
attention. And I know, based on Paul's question, that your priority is your line, but I think there's a couple trees on that road that are dug up from the plows, and they're eventually gonna go. I mean, the Tiffany Hill Road is a similar type of situation, where it's a hazard for cars going by, never mind just protecting your lines too. So I didn't know if some of those trees can be addressed.
certainly, I can go for a ride with.
Yeah, I know there's one tagged that sticks out in the middle of the road almost, but as well as the one that's going this way. Just a thought.
Yep.
Anybody else? Yes, sir. Come on up. State your name, please. Oh, wait till you get to the microphone. Oh, spin that thing around. Spin that microphone. Yes, thank you.
Hello?
Yeah.
John Edge. I got a couple of questions. One is, I had a tree come down and and you had one in your property come down, and they were, 30, 40 feet off the road, and they took out the power lines. I mean, how far off the road do you go?
So it's that 8 foot, so.
Oh, 8 foot, these are 100-foot trees.
I understand that, and that's, when we do outage investigations, the vast majority of them come from what we call outside the zone. Unfortunately, with being in New Hampshire, there's no way we can clear 90 feet on either side of every power line.
Not clear, but if a tree is defective, and it's, 60, 70 feet off the road, and it's a 100-foot tree, I mean, I've had the power lines come down in my house twice in the last year.
So who makes the zone, you?
No, that's what I'm saying, who
No,
makes the zone?
It's one of those things where like, the only way to get rid of all hazard trees is to remove all trees. And I don't think we wanna get rid of all trees.
I think that's a little, pushing it a little bit, but,
Well, I mean, that's the reality, like, you can look at a tree as a thing of biology and a thing of architecture. And the architect, you can't always know when the architecture's gonna fail. You can see when a tree dies and then, becomes a hazard, it's gonna fall down.
well,
But there can be root damage that I can't see, They can be heart rot that I can't see. There can be construction damage. You know, you put a road in, you put a new septic in, you know, you dig a new foundation. That all disturbs the roots that can cause trees to fail. So there's no, unless I literally walk around every tree and to determine it, then there's no way I could determine every tree that could possibly hit the lines. There's just no physical way.
So, the 10 or 12 trees you're cutting down really isn't gonna make a big difference then,
So
in my opinion.
okay.
When there's 200 trees that need to be taken down 10 or 12.
There's probably 800 trees that could be taken down. Could be.
So who pays Eversource every time the power goes out? Does the town? Because I know I didn't.
What do you mean?
When your truck comes
Yeah.
and the tree company comes, because the tree comes down,
Yeah.
who pays the bill?
We do.
You-
Right, so would the
Everybody does.
town want to,
No, utility.
You,
No.
you, you,
Utility
utility, you
custody.
pay it in your light bill.
Everyone pays it.
It's in your light
Everybody
bill.
pays it.
They don't bill the town.
well, that's what I'm asking. I don't
Right.
know. I was
No,
wondering.
it comes,
who,
it's your,
you
it's
know,
whatever.
because like I said, you came to my house twice in the last year,
That's part of the delivery fee on your bill, I'm sure.
you know? So I just,
It is.
I mean, I think if you're gonna take down 10 or 12, you ought to take, you know, at least get out. Maybe it takes getting out and walking around. I don't know. I'm just,
I hear your frustration. It's one of the things about
well, you wanna see the pictures of my pickup truck? You don't feel my frustration. You know?
like in having wires in a forest is inherently dangerous. Full stop. There's nothing else I can say to that.
And if I might add, this isn't, I mean, they do this every year. This isn't something,
So this is on a 4-year cycle.
you're on a 4-year rotation on Mount
Yes.
Gibbon Road?
Yes, everywhere in the area.
I was gonna say, you seem to come in here every year, though.
Well,
somebody
this-
does.
So the
A
circuit.
different
Yeah,
road,
so-
but yes.
So
Yeah.
we stagger the circuits,
Right,
so
yeah.
we're always.
And this hearing is for a scenic road, which means that they have to ask permission from the planning board from the town to cut down the trees. So it's not just a, like Flanders Moor.
That's way beyond my.
Yeah, that's-
my scope.
It's a, yes.
No, I mean, I honestly just think that you're not doing enough, and we're still gonna have, 30 power outages. But that's just my opinion, I guess, so.
I mean,
You drive up and down the road all the time.
I do.
I could drive up the road right now, and probably count 200 trees between my house and
so
the sugar house.
I instruct
Count
Austin
14 in
and
my
I instruct
driveway.
my other people that work with me to be judicious on the removals, just because there's a sensitivity there to doing tree removal. If we need to revisit that and go look at, Mount Dearborn Road again, we most certainly could do that. But it's,
But what do you mean sensitivity to tree removal?
Well, yeah, you don't wanna take them all
There's-
down, I understand. You want it to
there's
stay,
some instances where there can be pushback to,
Oh, okay, so you got someone, hugging the tree and saying, don't cut it down.
not even that, just, I mean,
Okay, all right, I just wanted to see if there was a certain group that was
No,
against
no,
you
I
cutting
wouldn't
trees
say- I
down.
wouldn't say there's a group,
Okay.
it's just,
All right,
individuals that, for whatever reason.
yep, all right.
If I can add real quick, we're towards the end of the 4-year cycle. We come through every 4 years, so this is why we're here now. So technically, we haven't been there in 4 years, so I went out, I marked the trees that had the defects that I can clearly see, the worst of the worst that we absolutely, think that these need to
Yeah.
go, they are gonna cause an outage. So
Yep.
while we can't take all of the trees, we are getting the worst of the worst, in my opinion. That's why I'm marking them.
well, you guys are the tree guys, I guess, but.
Well, could you go on somebody else's property and cut a tree even though you know it's gonna fall in the line?
No, we have to have permission.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a caveat to that, unless it's deemed imminent to fail. Today I saw 2 trees that were what's called barber chairing, where they were cantilevering over and splitting out the back. They're gonna be on the ground tomorrow, because they're gonna go across a road, take out wires,
Yeah.
and God knows what else.
Okay.
But those will be down tomorrow, and we're in the process of getting a hold of the landowner. It's a camp. It's on a camp road. But those will be down. You know,
So he, if he objected, it made no difference, they're going down anyway, he's saying.
in that situation, because they're
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
We do have some on Mount Dearborn that are gonna need permission, you know, so we have them marked, but if we don't get permission, they're unfortunately gonna stay up, so, I mean, that could play into our reliability there as well, but, you know, we have them marked and feel pretty confident about what we marked.
How much does the landowner own off the road?
that depends on their deed.
We gotta get back up and talk to Mike.
Oh, sorry.
Everybody does. Oh, all three of you.
You know what I mean?
Naomi's gonna be mad at me.
If the landowner doesn't give you permission, but the tree is right on the road, I mean, wouldn't it be your call? Or, I don't know.
Well, the town has a right of
If
way.
it's within the right of way, they don't have to get landowner permission.
What's the right of way?
I
15
think
feet
it's-
off center line, is it?
It's, depends on the
Scenic
road.
is
Depends
usually
on the
stone wall
road.
to stone wall.
Could be 3 rods, 2 rods, it varies.
Okay,
It wouldn't be on the other side of any stone wall that's there.
okay. So limited. There's
You-
limited.
you-
In
usually
your,
it's
in your
stone wall.
argument, the tree that's 80 feet away,
Is
we
on
would
land,
absolutely.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, but I'm saying like, on my property, there's one tree right at the end of my driveway that has a blue tag on it.
Okay.
Take it down. But there's 3 or 4 others right there too. I mean, what, can't I just go put blue tags on? You know what I mean? I don't, I would rather have you take the 3 or 4 trees down on my property than lose power 5 times.
I
That's just, you know,
That's
that's
what
why, that's why I'm saying, I don't know where, you know, cause they're in front of my stone wall, the roadside of my stone wall.
So they're in the right of way, so they don't need your permission for those.
Right,
But they're not
But they're not
marked.
marked.
right.
Yeah.
so every tree, it's a risk analysis, right? Like every tree in the zone isn't necessarily going to get removed.
Right.
And we have to make a call at some point.
Yeah.
Is that in danger of the wires? And how likely is it going to be to take out the wires? That's our charge. We need to always be thinking, and sometimes, you know, really skinny trees might not look like they're a hazard, but because they can move so much that they're very much a hazard. And then there are other trees that have a lean in such
Right.
a way
Yeah, there's a lot
that
of those.
that even though they could quite possibly be considered a hazard, I can't take them down because they're not a hazard to my lines or Eversource's lines, because that would just get unwielding in terms of cost for the company.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
that's, I mean, I guess my thing is if you're gonna come through now
Mhm.
and take down, you know, 20 trees, let's say, and there's 200 that, you know, in the next 3 or 4 years are gonna fail, why wouldn't you just take them down now? Because you can't predict they're gonna fail? I mean,
Well, I mean, you can't predict when and how they're going to fail. I mean, I live in the constraint of a budget.
Yeah.
You know, there's all sorts of considerations, and I'm not saying that you're not right.
no,
It's more to it than just they're gonna come down, take them down now. If that makes any sense.
well, I understand, yeah, there's more to it than that. But,
You want reliability.
right, I'm the one that's without power. You know, I mean, I guess.
No, I mean if you're
Right.
losing power, you don't have reliability.
Yeah. You know, so when you lose it for a week at a time, which we have, personally, I'd just rather see them all come down.
Okay.
My question is,
State your name, please.
my
for the
name is
record.
Tim Beckley.
Thank you.
My question is there a way as a landowner, if we see a tree that is a hazard to the power lines, can we contact
Absolutely.
Eversource outside of this meeting
Absolutely.
and have that remedied in that manner?
Absolutely. And
Well, unfortunately, there's some caveats to that.
The
Even
scenic
though it's
road.
historical and a scenic road, that's my question.
You have to come back here.
You have to
Right.
come back here for it and everything.
No, the landowner can cut
If
a
it's
tree
on
down.
your land, you don't
If
need
it's
to,
on our
but if it's in the
land.
town right away,
If it's on your
Then it
land,
would
you can
be.
cut it.
Okay.
Without
Because
our-
I know,
without our
in other
permission.
words, what I'm saying is, as a landowner, I know which trees are failing and which trees have the root issues.
if they're on your
and
side of the
which
stone
trees are
wall,
bad.
no problem.
And I can say that there's actually 4 on my property right now. Well, not on my property, in the town right away, that have been severely underrooted by the road, by the grading of the road and the change of the road over the past 3 years.
And they're not marked.
And they are not marked.
Yeah,
And they've been hit by the plows. They actually have huge dead limbs on them up high.
So dead limbs would be pruned in the scheduled maintenance trimming. So,
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
the pruning is and the trimming is a
Separate from the trees that are flagged.
Removed, yes.
Okay,
yes.
so,
Yes.
So wherever there is line, there will be tree pruning.
okay,
The entire length of the wire, and the removals are on top of that.
okay.
Anybody else? Well, we do have a letter to read in to the minutes from Neil and Helene Kurt. Dear board members, we live in Mount Dearborn Road and were notified of tonight's hearing on removal of trees along the scenic road. We looked at the trees marked with purple checkerboard tape and have no objection to their being removed, with one exception. We question the need to remove the oak tree on the south side of the road, southwest of the Morley's house. Reasonable trimming of these branches near the wire should be considered as alternative. Please read this letter into the record for the meeting. Very truly yours, Neil and Helene Kirk. Is that the leaning tree everybody keeps talking
Down
about?
by Morley's, it must be the one when you come around the corner. There's one in pretty bad shape there.
It's right before the clearing where you start seeing our field, and it has like a hollow, not really completely hollow, but it's got a thing. Yeah, it's got like this scar on it.
Yeah.
Scar. You know, why do we get to touch it? I can't see, I don't have glasses.
Any other board members have any questions? Comments?
Is there any chance, I hate to do this, that,
I'm suggesting we go look at it and come back in
Yeah,
2 weeks.
me too,
I knew you were, that's why you're hesitating.
yeah.
That's
And
why I asked how
Kind of like,
area.
when we look at it, if one of you guys could be there maybe?
Sure.
Is that possible? Because I'm sure as soon as we say a date and time, then everybody here is gonna go. Which is, you're more than welcome to come.
Grind the green shirt will. I didn't write down your name, I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah. It's the one right before that one. Yeah.
It's kind of in the way.
If we get, as long as we get the wood, I'm fine with that.
I like how you take shelter.
Would you guys be all right with that? Have a site walk?
Yeah.
Then say in 2 weeks we come back and we do this again and be done with it? Didn't say we're gonna approve it, but just be done with it.
They do it again. Well, Lions don't have another meeting.
I
Yes.
definitely could have missed that one.
Yeah, but that's possible.
I mean, maybe 6 o'clock one evening or something?
Let's say, is there a good day for you, a bad day for you guys?
I don't have my calendar with me, but I mean, what's the time frame you're looking to?
Like 6,
Probably like 6, well, we could do it next, before the meeting.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, you should, that way you can,
Just do it at 6 o'clock on the 26th.
Yeah, I can.
If you can't,
Yeah.
I think we can see the tape on trees if you can't make it, I'm
Right,
sure.
right.
But
Yeah, I mean, I think I can right now, but without looking in my calendar, I can't give you 100%.
then we put you first on the agenda on the 26th and be done with it one way or the other.
Okay.
Does that make sense for everybody?
I make a motion, we
Thank you.
table this till the continue this till the 26th, and we have a site walk at 6 o'clock on the 26th to review the road, the trees.
We have a second.
Second.
Discussion? Oh, yes, sir.
Are we gonna meet where?
Meet up at the end of Monday Road.
Which end?
By the,
Right by the
Church.
church.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
The
Then you
church.
can walk up and back.
That way.
Oh, it's there.
We're gonna park at, I don't wanna park at the top, then we'll walk down, we can't get back.
I was gonna sit in the bed of your pickup truck.
Tailgate party.
Yeah. Okay, does that work?
That works.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstain? See you on the 26th, I think I said, right?
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Not a problem.
Before he leaves.
Jeez,
I got a question for him, so, if you mind.
I did the same thing 3 years ago. Maybe 5, I don't know. Well, that's why everybody was here, I guess, huh? They weren't here for you.
I guess so.
You always get nervous when you got a hearing and the room is full.
Yeah.
That was interesting. I've never been to a planning board meeting before.
Well, they're concerned because there was a lot of outages on that road. And for
Well,
one guy, the tree came right down and crushed his truck.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah,
well, this ash borer is gonna cause havoc for the next
3 or
decade.
4 years probably, at
Maybe.
least.
And they're behind on getting those out too.
Yes, they
Peter's
are.
got 5 of them in front of his house that been marked to take, and they haven't taken them yet.
They cut a
They
couple
were
in
up there
front of my
today,
driveway this
trimming.
spring, and I
don't
was
know what
after
they
him to
did, but-
take one more. I had called the guy up, got him out there. They was doing it.
They had tape in line 3 years ago.
Don't
They-
Dearborn still have a historical overlay?
No.
So then why are we considering this
Still
as a
historic road.
scenic?
Still a
Scenic
scenic,
road.
still a scenic road.
So it'd be nice to know the definition of scenic, because it's not in our zoning.
It's
Because it's not a zoning ordinance.
a state.
It's a
defined as-
state,
By the state.
So is it in this book then?
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. Because I think that would be helpful for the constituency to understand what that means. 'Cause it's
Basically-
almost like they're looking for up over Dimitri's Hill clearing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think they're looking for that, but there are a lot of trees up there, maples that,
They
there's
just don't
some
wanna
old
lose-
maples that are in pretty tough
They
shape,
just
I
don't
don't
wanna lose
know.
power anymore.
Yeah, well, if you're gonna lose it for a week and you don't have any backup, that's a long haul.
Yeah.
I've been there, done that. It's a long time. Remember the cops came to my house, wanted to make sure I was all right after a week. I said, well, I got water in the brook to flush the toilets. I got a good stove to heat and cook with, and I got a barbecue grill, so I'm doing okay. Well, Paul isn't back yet, but he's an alternate anyway. So you're next on the agenda, ma'am. You're the conceptual on Center Brook Road, correct?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. I assumed that, and since you're the only one here.
Heather Cosby. I'm not really sure what I need to do. This is my first time doing this, so,
Explain what you wanna
Yeah,
do.
so start with saying what you want to
basically,
do.
what I wanna do is, open up a small shop. I have, my house is up like on a hill, so you walk into like my basement, and it's like a half-finished basement. And I wanted to open up, like a gift shop to support like, local crafters and hobbyists. I've been in corporate finance my entire career, up until my daughter was diagnosed, with leukemia. That was in 2013. And then after that, I just couldn't go back into corporate, so I first originally moved up here to open a business. I just didn't know what at the time. And this just seemed to fit with everything. A lot of like hobbyists and crafters and whatnot, they wait till one time a year to do all their sales, so they're making it throughout the year, and you have to apply ahead of time. It's a lot of work. So I kind of wanted to just have a small place that's very affordable, instead of like, you know, at the mall where they have, you know, their rates are, you know, phenomenally high. So your weekend crafters or your little hobbyists, they can't really afford something like that. So I just kind of wanted to have, you know, a small little place like that.
possibly hold a couple of classes for the vendors, so they can teach their skills to just other people that are interested in it. We have some painters. They want to hold a class on how to paint flowers. So there's a lot of interest in doing this. I don't think it's going to be very busy. I do want to do more sales online for these folks as well. There are a lot of crafters that are just not tech savvy also.
How many employees would you have?
Me.
Good answer.
Me, maybe my daughter when she's home from college.
That's fine.
But that's it. This is gonna be my job here. I take advantage of a lot of good opportunities, so I know that this is gonna open doors for me to go someplace else. I just don't know where yet.
Do you have any idea how many customers you'd have there at a time?
One, maybe two. I don't. I'm actually only gonna do opening. I did want to open it a lot longer, but realistically, I'm not really on the main road. I'm kind of on the cut short and then off the main road. So you can see from Center Road, you can see my mailbox. I'm only one house in from the main road. So I have pictures. I don't know if you want to see any of those, but I have
What
like an
number is the house?
21. And I'm set back. So I have a nice big huge shaped driveway. So there's ample place for parking. And like I said, it's the lower level, so there's no steps to go up or down or anything. You can walk right in.
So that's the first street, if you were coming back towards Center Road, that would be the first, like, long road that goes out off that?
Yeah, it's the only one that's there, actually. It's
Yeah.
the only road, like near the bridge.
Yeah.
It's like right, yeah.
Yeah.
How many,
Which lot are you, which one are you on, how far back?
21, I'm the second house in from the road. There's the main
Okay.
road, and there's the house, the big blue house on the corner
Yeah.
with the morals, and then I'm like right behind him.
Okay.
You're right behind him on that side of the road?
yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
But my house though is pushed back and it goes
Yeah.
up on a hill, so
Okay.
it's kind of higher than his.
How many square feet would you say you'd be occupying for the business?
Oh, it's small, maybe 300 square feet.
How many?
20 by 20?
Yeah, no, there's a mudroom that pops out of the house. And that's, I think, like 9 by 9. And then when you come through the mudroom, then there's another big room there, and that one is, oh gosh, 12 by 14. And then there was a wall that had been put up, and then there's like behind that, so it's almost like I used it for a bedroom for my oldest daughter when she was home. It's been used for many things. But that's gonna be like the workshop area, the storage area, any extra supplies that vendors wanna leave behind to restock. So it's not, like I said, it's not that big, so that way, it's more affordable. And my overheads, it's my house, so I don't really have a huge overhead. I don't need to charge a lot of money for these folks and to try and display their items and sell their items.
So you think you got 2 rooms that are 12 by 14 roughly?
So the front one is 8 by 9. Then the other room is, well, according to this, it says 14 by 14
Okay.
with that wall. And then the back room is just another 10 feet by 14. So it's gonna be just that main front part, which is the 14 by 14, and then that 8 by 9.
Good answer. That comes up to 425 square feet, and you're allowed up to 500. Good answer.
No,
Yeah.
it wasn't much. Now, like 500 for what? I'm sorry, what was that?
You're allowed 500 square feet, and the numbers you just gave us are 425 square feet.
For a home-based
So,
business?
so you're just barely under the number. Yeah, like I said, good answer.
Is that RA? Is this zoned RA or R?
Residential.
Residential?
Home-based business or home occupation, including, but not limited to, lawyer, doctor, realtor, accountant, notary.
Article,
17.2.4, allowed uses in the residential district. So is this a home-based business?
that's
What-
why I was looking up definition of home-based business, according to that.
No, that's where I got the 500 square feet.
Yeah, I know.
Doesn't say much.
No. It really says
Home-based,
25% of
yeah,
500 square feet.
Shall mean any legal use which is carried out entirely within a dwelling and occupying no more than 25% or 500 square feet, whichever is less. But doesn't really help us with what's a legal use, unless you're referring back to lawyer, doctor, realtor, accountant, or notary.
Yeah, but this is not limited to.
Right, but not limited to. Someplace else we had. Home shop.
Yeah, it's plumbers, electricians, that kind of thing, right?
1736.
That's right underneath the.
Yes. Well, it's gotta be one or the other, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's more of a home-based business than home shop. Home shop is like tradesman.
Yeah.
Working out of the house. going
Home
off-site
shop
to
is
work.
home shop is like Paul.
That's what the gunsmith shop falls
Right.
under. What would be the difference between that and what that young lady came up who did the tattoo parlor,
Right.
right?
That's a tradesman, right.
Now, that's considered.
I think so,
Okay.
yeah.
What was your first reference, 17 what?
17.2.4 is under residential home-based business or home occupation, including but not limited to lawyer, doctor, realtor, accountant, or notary, are allowed in residential.
I mean, that's, well, that's describing as like office space, but it says including but not limited to.
I would say.
There's no list of non-permitted uses in the art district, is there?
Most of our zoning does not list non-permitted uses on purpose. Okay, if you go to, well, it's under rural agricultural, but 17.3.7, home-based business or home occupation such as but not limited to lawyer, doctor, realtor, accountant, or notary, also including but not limited to beauty shop, music teacher, tailor, or other personal services. I don't know how the second sentence got in that one, but not in the other one.
Yeah, but that such as but not limited to leaves it pretty open.
I guess the question is she a tradesman or is she a beautician? Or other personal service?
You're kind of selling stuff on consignment, right? It's,
Sort of, yeah, sort of.
not-
I'm doing a small rental fee, so they can afford to at least, have a rental fee. And then usually the consignment on that, on these types of goods is like a 60-40 split, with no rental fee or a small, or high rental fee and a smaller, like a 10% or something. So I'm only doing about 13%. I'm doing 10% on the sales, which is why I'm gonna do a lot more online. So it'll be 10% in the sales, and because of the credit card fees and everything like that, only on credit card fee transactions, I'm just recouping the 3% that's charged from them. So really, I'm only taking a small, the spaces are about anywhere from $10 to $20, but they're small spaces. They're not like if you go to the mall or you go to a craft fair, they have, a nice big display.
Yeah.
It's meant for smaller craft
table
fairs.
space or wall space or something.
Yes, exactly, yeah. So, I'm sorry, I got sidetracked. And then the only other thing that, if it's possible to do is, I'd like I said, I'd like to have like workshops, I guess you could call them, or classes, small, not large at all. Just to
Well,
use
the-
skills and talents.
The classes certainly fit underneath the music teacher
Yeah, exactly, that's what I was just thinking.
under the 17.3.7, which if we have to, I kind of have to assume that the home-based business definition in rural agricultural would also be the same definition in residential. For some reason, that second sentence isn't there, but. So I think the use is allowed, in my opinion.
I agree.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't see why
okay.
not.
She's got plenty of parking if she's worried about parking.
And even putting a little wooden ramp over the mud door, so, they don't have to walk through mud when it gets muddy.
I mean, we don't have any definition for retail.
Really?
We don't have any definition of retail. There's two R definitions, residential, home, and right away.
So you're only going to have you as an employee, maybe your daughter. Obviously, that's not going to be a parking issue. One or two customers at a
She doesn't even
time.
have her license yet. Nope, she's just all about studies, so.
One or two customers at a time, so you're talking maybe two more cars to park.
Possibly, yeah. I think the only time I'd have more cars is if I have a class.
And you're going to have service, UPS or somebody doing pickup and deliveries, theoretically.
Oh, yeah, they do pickups, don't they? Yeah, I haven't gotten into the shipping stuff yet, but yeah. Or I drop it off at a drop box or
I was
something.
going to say UPS, FedEx,
Yeah.
Postal Service, somebody is going to pick up and deliver.
Just
At least pick up.
Keep in mind that 500 square foot cutoff. I said, just keep in mind that 500 square foot cutoff,
Yeah, okay.
maximum usage.
Is that for, you said for a home-based business?
Yes.
That is? Really? Okay, all right.
As long as you're under the 500 feet and just the two of you, I don't think he needs to come here.
I was going to lean the same way. What's everybody else think? Should need to do a site plan and come in?
She's not remodeling the house other than,
I might paint the outside.
yeah,
then
but
pop
I mean,
out
not
that.
like she's adding on to make this work. She's using what's existing.
Yeah, existing
And
space.
they're looking at the overview on Google Maps, there's plenty of parking.
Are you going to have a sign?
I have a A-frame sign put on Center Road. And then I have just one of those pole ones to put next, like, to the mail block that says open.
Yeah, we have a sign ordinance, just check that out.
I have this in here, and they said that if it's gonna be a permanent sign, like something that's permanent, which I have pictures of what I would like to. Is anyone-
Yeah, we don't administer the sign ordinance.
Oh, they said if it was a permanent sign, that I needed a permit, so, and they gave me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not us, though.
That's not us.
Oh, that's not you guys, oh, okay, okay.
We get rid of that responsibility. We don't want to do signs. But just have to make sure you follow the sign ordinance, page 74 of the zoning.
Okay,
It tells you how big a sign you can have, basically. And you can't light it in the residential district, that kind of
no,
thing. It appears you're allowed one sign, 6 square feet.
That's your little teepee sign, Friday's about that.
oh, that's what
Pretty
I-
close.
Yeah, I got a tall one I've been using, well, before I knew, sorry.
And then one of the posts can't be more than 6 feet above the center line of the road, so.
6 feet, it's about that big.
Anybody else have any questions or comments? Good luck.
I'm good to go?
I think so, yes. I'm not even going to take a vote on that. No. Yes, good luck.
so now what happens now? I can like just open now? Because I have everything, I was ready to
You
open
need to
last
get
weekend.
you need to get a sign permit and then open up. Yes.
Thank you,
Thank you.
come visit.
If you're gonna do any electrical work, you need a permit, but other than that.
No, no electrical work. Thank you, have a good day.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good luck. I see our Eversource guy is
I
back.
just brought cards. I was remiss for not bringing cards. I only have 4 as well, so
Jeez.
I apologize.
I think,
Only 4.
I already bugged him, but I'll take a card because I'll bug you again.
No, that's, you know, I'll just leave them there. Oh,
Yeah.
Just drive up the road 3/4 of a mile on your left-hand side, you'll see it.
sorry about that.
No,
Thank you.
No.
Did,
Thank
did you?
Hey, thanks,
you're-
Andy, appreciate it.
If you can't make it next for a site walk, can you email or call somebody?
Yes, what would be the best?
How about if I give you back your card
Oh, okay.
with my email address on it?
Gonna go in there.
Told you red is an
You'll see it.
aggressive number.
I'm an aggressive type person. Okay,
You're triggering it.
I am.
It's not a safe space.
That's me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It is 2 weeks from today.
yes.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. No, I don't know who he is.
Andrew King.
Guess we're all done with hearings. I didn't print out my agenda. I know the 2 things I had in my brain yet, but one of them is I've looked at. I do a lot of work in a lot of different towns, but to name a few, Goffstown, Hooksett, Hopkinton, most towns have their site plan and subdivision plan, regulation, site plan and subdivision regulations combined. It does make it easier for everybody, because there's only one definition, there's not 2. It's just simpler for us and them, I think, especially them. That's one thing I'd like to do, but I don't think we can do it ourselves. But I think it could be done fairly cheap. I don't know if we have any money at all. I didn't think so.
Default.
That's what I thought. But I can ask Southern New Hampshire Planning. See if we can get some.
That there's duplicate descriptions or
Oh, yeah, yes, there are. And there's,
contradictory?
yes,
Yeah, okay.
there is.
I thought it might make it more difficult, but maybe if you just clean that up, and still have 2 separate documents would work. You're saying that's not the best one?
I was thinking, if you did stay with what we have, clean up the controversies, but you need another document that goes before it, so that the planning, the office over here knows, you meet these qualifications, this fits this zoning. If you fail these qualifications, you go to this section, if you're gonna keep it separate.
Well,
Because that's,
if you're gonna keep it
Based
separate,
on-
if you're gonna keep it separate, site plan is commercial or multifamily. Four dwellings or more, or commercial use, that's site plan, period. Subdivision is lot line adjustments and subdivisions
right.
with property lines. So it's pretty clean break, really. If you're not building anything, you're not doing a site plan.
So other than your observation, and I'm not saying your observation isn't worthy to consider, other than that, what is it gonna benefit us to do this? How's this gonna help? If you just described things are pretty cut and dry,
Well, you're gonna have one application, you're not gonna have one checklist. You're only gonna have one all those things. One abutters list, one way to do an abutters list instead of 2. Actually, we have 2 different ways of doing a abutters list right now. So all those things would be simpler,
right, okay,
not necessarily for us, but for the applicant.
right.
I can go through it and see what I can weed out, but I think I'll call, I'd prefer to have somebody else look at it that's fresh with it, you know what I mean? Because I might see I might read it and say, oh yeah, that's okay, and keep on going, because I've seen it 100 times already. or a definition, I'll just fly right by it. How many times I read the definition of a 100-year floodplain in my life? Those kind of things. I'd prefer to have somebody else take a clean look at it, but
Could you show us an example? I'd be interested in just seeing one example of what you're talking about.
tonight?
Well,
No.
whatever.
Yes, I can. I can certainly can.
Okay.
That's easy.
So basically, it's an editorial issue. We need someone to go in and edit to combine the two so they're not saying the same thing 5 times.
In 4 different ways.
Right.
Right. My other subject is wetlands. Everybody knows, you probably don't know, and Sherry and Paul don't know, but everybody else knows. Right now, our wetland ordinance is very simple. If it's wet, you have a 50-foot setback. If it's wet, you have a 25-foot buffer. Doesn't matter if the wetland's the size of this piece of paper or if the wetland's 25 acres. It doesn't matter if the wetland has endangered species in it or it has nothing in it. So I would like to, what I'm proposing, and I have for the last couple of years, is varying the buffer and the setback depending on the value of the wetland. If you have a little wetland that's smaller than 3,000 square feet, say, and I'm pulling a number out of what a lot of other people do, it doesn't have very much of a buffer. If you have an acre wetland, it's gonna have a buffer. You get over an acre, it's gonna have a bigger buffer. If it's a vernal pool where you have frogs living and no fish eating them, then you have wood frogs like crazy, it's a endangered species, you get a bigger buffer. This is Amherst's way of doing this. I think I showed everybody Kingston's way a year ago. I like
Well,
Amherst's way of doing it.
This is 8/12/21 that you gave us, or was it proposed?
Out of Amherst.
That's the old one or the new one?
This is a new proposal that I have a copy of from what you gave us.
Tonight?
No,
Oh.
from 8/12/21.
That's from Kingston.
Yeah.
I like this one better. I like to steal stuff.
I have a question.
Sure.
You know when you go to the transfer station before you turn in, if you're on 77? Nobody's doing anything with that area. They're not correcting anything. Why is
I don't hear-
that?
Okay, there's the question. Why is that? I don't know. I said,
Who's responsible
I
for
s-
that? I thought that came here.
no.
Which was what? I mean,
Didn't they come here to do the
They came
clearing
in
and
for the
stuff?
site plan,
They
Right,
come in for the site plan.
and
Site-
they showed something there that they didn't adhere to.
right. So who's enforcing this?
The enforcement officer.
Tony.
But when Tony wasn't here when it happened, for one thing. And if you're talking about the wetland right in the corner,
Yeah, as soon as the
Bef-
trees get
before-
lopped down,
as soon as they cut it, I said something, Bruce and I were talking about it.
yeah.
And I emailed Conservation Commission. I'm not gonna name the people I emailed, but I emailed,
Well, you didn't email me because I've been on it longer than that's happened and I didn't get a copy of any.
oh, this is before the wood chips went in there though. So I-
Yeah, yeah.
Well before the wood chips went in there.
Then the wood chips came in and I started raising a little more heck about it. And then I said,
Gotta
when
have to rake
Tony,
'em out.
when Tony was hired, I said something to Tony about it. Since then, if you drive down Rockland,
Yes.
and there's that old road that was there,
Yep.
that they were supposed to block off,
They have done that.
Is that TMS diesel we're
Yes.
talking about?
Mm.
Okay.
yes, they have done
They
that.
blocked that road off. There was parked trucks and parked equipment. Now they put up a wall and
They
graded it
didn't,
out.
they didn't, there's still other issues.
When the site plan was done, I gotta draw a map, a surveyor thing, I gotta draw maps. If this is Rockland Road, they have the entrance, and this is 77. So you got an entrance coming in, there was a wetland here, and a wetland here.
Yep.
So they got a special exception to building a buffer. They go out, and they were supposed to go over and do something like that with a building. And there's a wetland in here.
That old logging road snuck around the backside.
Yes, the old logging road was something like this.
the one they just closed off.
I remember during the application, I asked how many square feet the disturbance was, and it was something like 87,000 square feet. If you go over 100,000 square feet, you need an alteration terrain permit from DES. It's for erosion control, sedimentation, infiltration, all those things. And I asked specifically about this wetland. They were not gonna go around it. Since then, I think 2 weeks ago, this has been bugging me.
It's been bugging me.
Yeah, so I drove out on a Saturday, and I can see this nice little gravel crushed road, stone road with people parking. Well over 100,000 square feet now. And this certainly is not approved as part of our
Nothing on
site
the
plan.
plan.
Right, that was not part of our site plan. There's a lot of violations out there.
If they don't clean that area up, there's not gonna be any animals left. They're all gonna be dead, if they're not already. And this has been going on for several years now.
The wetland at the corner is in DOT property. The cutting of the trees was mostly on DOT property. So technically, I don't know what we can do about it. I think DOT should have already done something about it, but they haven't, to be blunt.
So why don't you call DOT? The chair.
I have heard recently, like about a month, that the Conservation Commission has filed with DES a complaint and filled out the form with DES. Maybe a month and a half ago. I'm kind of going from memory on that. But technically, code enforcement is not the planning board's responsibility. Sorry,
You can pass the buck here, right?
it is, it's not our.
We don't have any authority to
We
enforce.
don't. No, I know we don't, but I'm just saying
Yeah.
that.
But we,
Right.
I mean, we did notify them.
So just as a point of reference, if we see something like that, we need to go talk to Tony,
Correct.
is the way we should work it, not walk up or start,
No, we're not enforcers.
right? But is it our job to, every time we go by somebody's place, we say, aha?
As a citizen, probably.
Yeah, I think.
But as a
you-
planning board member, should that be on our radar to be attentive to those
I don't
things?
think that's anywhere in our,
Okay, I just
It's
wanted,
kind
purview.
of, it's not required of you
yeah,
as a member.
I think if you look at our bylaws, it doesn't say anything about that in there.
right, it doesn't, but I was just curious.
I think most planning boards in most towns do.
Because
However-
people stop talking to me.
Well,
Or I had a conversation with someone today who thought I had an in. And I don't have an in, sorry.
They think you can do them favors.
Yeah. When the Red Sox won the first World Series in 2004, I got emails, thank you
I
for
was
your
gonna say, that
prayers."
would take the credit for that one.
I don't know. No, that's bugged me for quite a while, and
Me too.
nothing seems to happen. So somebody's
And it-
notified Tony about this, but Tony hasn't really gone and done anything about it either.
Tony's a couple days a week, he's.
Yeah, I know what he is.
Yeah, he's getting his feet wet, but he's got
Yeah.
he's got a lot of things to address.
How many houses going up and where?
No, he's not.
No,
No,
yeah.
that's
He's not
not,
the enforcer, he's.
no, he's not the inspector.
He's not the building inspector.
Eh,
So the placement of that building isn't where it was approved?
Pardon me?
Placement of that building is not where it was approved?
No.
The building is where it's approved,
No,
yes.
Yeah,
they
but they-
relocated the thing, he redid the whole site plan. because-
They added parking and added
They added another road in
more
there.
parking, that type of thing.
Yeah.
From the original plan.
Well, are they using that other dirt road that, because the Google Maps doesn't show the present site, but,
Yeah.
I don't think they were ever using the other road. They had a dump truck parked there for a long
Yeah.
time.
well, there's a host of vehicles parked on that side of the
It
hill
looks like a
now.
junkyard.
Yeah.
I thought they'd blocked off the road because someone came in and robbed them.
No.
No, somebody did go in and rob them, but
I thought
that's
they
not,
blocked
that's,
stuff up to keep people from getting access to
no,
the.
when they got the special exception for the, going through the wetland buffer with their driveway, they were gonna they had to block off the other road.
One of the conditions, yeah.
I thought they had to replant it and revegetate
They
it.
do. And that was supposed to be done as of last Friday.
Oh, okay. Oh, so Tony did say something to him.
Yes, about that.
Okay,
Now, any further in, I don't think he got to.
better work your way in.
the end.
So, going back to this document.
Yes.
Is in its entirety is what you're looking at, or the
I just wanna
minor
talk,
details in? Because the question I had right off the bat was, who's going to make the districts? Or are you not using that as?
What district?
Well, it says Wetland and Watersheds Conservation District is the title of this section.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, okay,
So
that's,
you're just using the
But
guts.
the
Yeah.
districts are created as people develop the sites and they identify the wetlands, then that makes the district.
I just copied Amherst, I didn't make
So
it,
you got that from reading this? And
No, I didn't
I
get
just
that from
perused
reading
it, I
this,
just
but-
looked quick,
I've been,
and I said, oh, page 76 is what we want to look at.
yeah, but, I mean, typically with wetlands, that's how a district is defined, is when someone goes in to make improvements to the site and they have to have,
similar to our Aquifer Protection Overlay District,
Right,
most towns, a lot of towns have a wetlands
okay.
overlay district. We don't need to do that.
Well, I had a conversation with someone who's part of the Piscataquid River watershed. And I had a question about the bridge by my house and the amount of salt that's put on the road in front of my house. And why that's okay when in Deering at the top by, well, Dudley Brook Road, it's a no salt area at the top of that hill.
They just sand up there.
Okay?
Yeah.
So it just, that's coming down into that
Same-
river,
Same water.
same water. So, yeah, because that Dudley Brook comes in the backside of,
Horse
Yeah,
Lake.
Ware Reservoir.
yeah, where is a Horse Lake,
backside.
and then goes by my house. So it just puzzled me. Because when we got our change of use, one of the concerns was us not putting salt on our property. When we're plowing, right?
Yep.
I don't have to, the state does that for me.
it
On
runs
both
off the
prop-
road.
On both properties, because
Yeah,
it just
runs
goes
right in
right
off the
off,
road.
right off the road into it.
Yeah,
Yeah, the no salt part, that's a,
It'd be hard right there probably because it's a bridge and that's gonna freeze first.
Correct. I was just puzzled
But they should
as
be
to
able
what
to
the
do
parameters
less.
were. And this person, well, it's not a problem.
Sand the damn thing.
So,
but that's essentially something that the decision the town makes.
correct. But see, the town doesn't make a decision on this. The state makes a decision on that roadway. And the state doesn't put sand down anywhere that I know of. Because last winter, we rescued them with our sand.
I think the state has no salt areas some places on their roads.
Yeah, probably, but it just seemed, here's a major road going over, a
Right.
major tributary to the whole watershed. Why wouldn't you say, maybe we shouldn't do it
You talk about
Hello, yeah,
you talk about the bridge on
114.
114 or
Yeah,
the
by
bridge
my
on
house.
Reservoir Drive?
Right
no, right by
114.
his house.
Okay, 114.
Yeah, it's a state highway.
Yeah.
You know what I never could figure out though there? The salt's bad, right? But why did the town of Ware ever allow that garage to go in right next to the river and dump oil?
Well, it's no
The
longer a
the
garage.
where the
thankfully.
town had it?
The garage that
Yeah,
With
we
the
know.
museums?
they own now,
Yeah,
yeah.
when it went in, it wasn't,
On the garage.
a garage was built, was it built for the carpet guy there?
No, that was a
No.
garage.
For the
Garage.
guy who worked,
That was
had a
for a
Jeep
garage.
business.
Yeah.
And they had 55-gallon drums of oil that were leaking.
How long ago was that that went in?
Before Craig,
Yeah.
long time ago.
Yeah, it's been
That went
a
in-
long time, but I couldn't understand why they were allowing that from day one.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure they weren't allowed to have
Building
leaking
went in
55-gallon
2002.
drums, but
2002? Yeah.
Really, okay.
Well, you shouldn't have any garages near any water source. Because you got oil, you mishaps, you got antifreeze.
So we have,
you
yeah,
got-
but we have to also be careful because our town used it for a year.
well,
The town spent a lot of money cleaning it up.
they spent a lot of money
So-
cleaning, yeah.
at the same time, Sherry, if you have a commercial zone, how can you not allow a garage in it?
Well, you can allow a garage in a commercial zone, but I don't think you should allow it being put next to the river.
Well, that's what I mean, the commercial zone, if the
Well-
property's zone commercial, you can't use it for residential, and the guy wants to
What
put
was
a garage
it,
in it.
Have it farther, so many, farther away.
Well,
a larger
there's
buffer.
a lot of what-ifs
That's
because
what
the water,
this would address.
the wetland
larger
thing
buffer.
is right there closer than the river.
Right. Oh, yeah, I know.
You know, so, but so, it comes back to whoever was in charge then, and what they permitted.
Yeah,
Because I talked to Bob, what's his last name? BC Auto,
BC Auto.
his foundation, it should have just been a slab or a 4-foot frost wall. It's an 8-foot frost wall, because they didn't want any oils leaking from the building.
right. Or antifreeze or anything
Yeah,
like that.
and that's what he had to comply to when he built that.
And that's been there for a while.
Yeah, before I moved to town.
Yeah.
So I think if we're gonna, if this group's gonna address this, I think you should definitely have a much bigger buffer when it comes to brooks and rivers and,
Well, yes, that's what this says. If you go to, it's basically making 4 tiers, for lack of a better term,
what page?
76.
76.
I just went through this for a septic design, that's why I saw this. And it was like, oh my lord, for a septic design, it's a lot of work for a septic design, I'm sorry, to get the wetlands flagged, to get somebody out there to flag the wetlands, and then to put a value on the wetland, and to write you a letter saying, here's the value of the wetland, and the setback should be such and such. It was like, jeez.
So when you're working with that, this is for new construction
Yes,
or replacement construction?
new. It doesn't matter, though.
Replacement septic systems,
Well, so I'm asking, the reason I'm asking,
yeah, we try to make those exempt because, I mean, otherwise you're gonna
so at what point,
create sites where people can't put replacement septic systems in,
right,
which isn't,
correct. But, so at
Anybody's
what point
point.
does the line get crossed that DES has to be called concerning something like this?
DES doesn't get involved with any setbacks or any buffers, because they don't have one.
these are all town orders.
All
Right, so-
DES cares about is the wetland itself. And
Correct.
if you disturb the wetland, then DES gets involved.
So how does it work when they're getting an exemption? Say we're talking about upgrading the tin can and the cottage on East Shore Drive.
That's not an existing septic system, that's an upgrade, that's treated as new construction.
Okay. All right.
The
That's
only
good to know. I
Upgrade, the existing septic systems mean you're not changing how many gallons a day goes into it.
Okay.
The minute you increase the flow, it's considered a new system, you have to meet all the rules.
Okay. So should there be a footnote pertaining to such a thing like that in this document?
Yeah.
Maybe in its
No,
final
because
form.
this document's for all wetlands in the town.
Okay,
Doesn't matter if you're putting in a septic system, if you're building a garage and having oil and antifreeze, if you're building a house, or if you're building a church.
okay,
Doesn't matter.
all right.
Well, church might be exempt now that I said that, but
With surface water, I mean, it talks about streams, and lakes and ponds, but it doesn't talk about rivers.
Yeah, rivers are considered streams.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of them are. They just, the class, it's,
there's a definition here someplace. Now I gotta find it. Knew I should have read this again tonight.
they get the Sauhegan River flows right through the middle of Amherst, so
And that's where I was.
they got a big river there.
Yeah.
So do we.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying, they do have a river in Amherst.
Well, I think it should be, I think there should be a bigger buffer. Once you put it in the river, it goes.
Well, it's not, the buffer's not from the river, the buffer's from the wetland beside the river. If you know what I mean.
I mean, the buffer's 100 feet there. If you go, the river's being a perennial stream.
What's the Conservation Commission have on
Oh, yeah.
record on something like this? Anything? Or
No.
or the watershed people? They have a document on
They may have
their
something.
setbacks? Or what they expect?
No, there's no way setbacks. I mean, we don't have any setbacks. Other than the
We have a
25
25-foot buffer
Buffer
and
and the
50-foot
50.
setbacks.
on any lots created after the date. Prior lots don't have the 50.
Okay.
Yes, if you go down to the bottom of page 76, it says perennial streams, 100 feet. Under surface waters for the setback. Anyway, I just wanted to bring this up. I haven't had a chance to really read it and go through it and then try to make it look like
What's the
wares.
reference for our present statement?
28, Article
28.9, right?
28.9, 28 something?
I don't have any of that.
Oh, the zoning book?
No, I don't have any of it.
Maybe hasn't made this copy? Maybe hasn't made this copy?
No, she's not here this week. Pretty much this week, she's gone up there,
Well, she is here, she's too busy doing anything that she doesn't have to do.
right?
28.8 on page 40. Setbacks, all buildings shall be a minimum of 50 feet from any jurisdictional wetland boundary. Existing lots of record as of the date of this adoption of this ordinance shall be exempt. 28.9, a buffer of native vegetation with no ground disturbance allowed except for planting shall be maintained within 25 feet of all jurisdictional wetlands. In forested areas, no more than 50% of the basal area shall be removed in any 10-year period. Then there's an exception to the buffer distances. Buffer distance not required within the right-of-way for any proposed Class 5 or higher road or any Class 5 road construction or maintenance activities. Sections not applied to forest management or agricultural. And that's really all we say about wetlands.
Yeah. So we just want to add like a diagram to flesh that out a little. We don't need a bunch of language, do we?
If we're gonna have a varying size buffer. Yeah, I'll type something up, I promise.
Well,
I almost had time today.
look at the other one you sent too, at the
Okay.
same time.
Okay,
'Cause that one seems to be what you're looking at, except for the graph.
I won't put that in my book. I'll leave it separate so I don't forget to look
So
at it.
what about if somebody's gonna go in and build, and they're 100 feet away, and they're gonna put a garage in? Do you think we should have something in our zoning ordinances that said, you know, you're gonna put a garage in and you're 100 feet away from a river, you know, you should put a full foundation underneath the building?
You mean a garage like my two-stall garage, or you mean a garage like
Like what
Automotive
was
garage.
put over there on-
commercial?
Yeah, commercial.
Well, then they'd have to come in for a site plan.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, they allowed that, and what I'm saying, is it still allowed?
Oh,
No, because we have a
No, 'cause
25,
when
we have a
we-
25-foot buffer and a 50-foot setback now.
when we addressed,
And we redid our,
Sunel's addition, they had to be within those setbacks, because they're in an aquifer.
Right.
Right?
yes, we also completely redid the site plan regulations, I believe. I was here, so I'm gonna guess it was 2006, something like that. Our site plan regulations are literally about this thick
Okay, so if
prior to
somebody-
that.
So if somebody is building something, a garage, a commercial garage, and they're on an aquifer, what happens if they dump a 55-gallon barrel of oil and don't realize it for a couple weeks?
Okay, let's back up. Let's assume somebody has a petroleum, who is it? A B&B. Like, I don't wanna name names.
Is petroleum on site for storage?
Yes.
No, Brown does. I mean, they.
No, it's the guy that was some Putnam.
Putnam
Yeah,
fuel.
oil, yeah.
Yes. They had to build a concrete, basically a bathtub
Right.
that held twice the volume of the tank.
So are
So if the
you-
tank leaks,
Yeah.
it's gonna stay in the concrete
So are you,
bathtub.
is that in our bylaws or zoning ordinances or whatever, that they have to put something in place if they got a garage, so when oil
Well, that's up to
barrels are
us.
being
Yes, there's,
stored?
we can certainly enforce that.
Containment?
We can certainly enforce that, yes.
Yeah. But is that in there?
I mean, we did that for.
Specifically,
Yeah.
I don't know,
If
to
it
be
isn't
honest.
in there, people are not gonna do it.
Oh, they
Well,
do
yeah.
it. We made H2O do it. We made him make his building a containment structure to
Right.
contain
Yeah.
the waste.
Yep.
And if it got wet, it stays inside the building.
You know, so-
That was just last
I
year.
mean, we're allowed to ask for more than what this says.
Okay.
What do we
And
make
he-
it?
and
As
he's come
long
in
as
for
it's
another
health and
building.
safety
He's-
So
thing.
we're talking commercial
He
as
came in
opposed to
for a conceptual.
residential.
We told
Correct.
him he's gonna have to do the same thing.
Yep, and he said good.
Well, I think it should be in writing though, just not that you're enforcing it here. It's
Well,
not,
the problem is, there's so many different permutations of things that can happen. It's impossible to nail it down, everything in writing. You know what I mean? There's so many different types of businesses that, and you
Well,
never
like-
know what's gonna come through
Like
the
when
door.
the
So
bus
you have
garage
to- you have
burnt
to write
down in
things broad
Bradford.
enough, so you have the
Who knows
flexibility.
what contaminants got loose then? No?
All I know is I had to go this way around to pick my kids up from school. Had to go into Warner and around and then go up to Sunapee.
It's,
You know, I was on the board when it, going back to the garage that the church now owns.
Mhm.
And I was surprised that went through, but there was one thing that I do remember, is that the Piscataquag Watershed Association did not object to it. And I
Really?
think that made a big difference. I was
That's
surprised.
who I talked to about the salt in front of my house.
Yeah. I mean, they're another outfit that has powerless in
Yeah.
the alley, just like we all are. You
Yeah,
look around.
yeah, I just think that if we don't protect the, you know, the land and stuff, that at some point,
He may have
Huge.
gone to the ZBA, I don't remember that. I got a suspicion you could put that in there again, if you did it correctly, or did it differently.
yeah, like any business, I mean, the operator makes a huge difference. I mean, some
That's right.
operators,
Correct.
like BC
I
Auto
think
down
the
there, is
first-
really good.
The first
Some aren't.
owner,
yeah.
before he got sick and sold to Ivan Jack, and they opened 77 Motors on his coattails. Then the second owner, because the whole property went to auction in 2004. And that's when the barn got taken off the house, because that was storage for the carpet place.
Forgot about that.
And everything got re-sided.
No, I forgot about the barn. I forgot the barn was there, yeah.
Yeah, the barn's gone.
Oh, yeah, it is, but I
Yeah.
forgot that it was there.
And in fact, the well was in the downstairs of the barn for that house. There may be an artesian there now, but
There's
the-
a, there's
there
a
was
well right out,
yeah,
right off the porch, there's a well. And there's a well in the basement,
yeah, that's what, the well was
but the well
in
outside the
that
house as
L,
well.
under that L section, coming out to the barn. That's where it used to be, I don't know now.
What else we got?
Class
Oh, roads.
5 roads, 6 roads, private roads, procedures.
I'm gonna get myself in trouble now.
Huh?
I might get myself in trouble now. No, I won't. I got a question for Laura, because I know in one instance we allowed it to happen, we being the town. If you got water draining onto a class 6 road, and there's no culvert, so it's just running over top the road. And then we allow a guy to turn this into a driveway. Naturally, he's gonna put a culvert in here. And the water is gonna be concentrated going onto Joe's property. Do we have right to do that? I would think not.
Well, is that natural, right? Is that
It's
a
not
natural flow?
It was, but it's not. Once you put it in a culvert, you're channelizing it.
Channelizing it.
You're causing erosion, you're causing all kind of damage to happen there.
You'd have
Instead
to-
of
You'd have to extend
there.
it down beyond his property if that's the case. And that whole side of the road have to be updated.
So there was no wetlands there, so we didn't need a permit?
I didn't say that. I think my recommendation was that they look at it, but I don't think anything was done.
Yeah.
You know where I'm talking about.
Yep,
Class 6.
Yes.
yes.
My other concern is the town approving something for a driveway, for an upgrade of class 6 to turn into a driveway. And what if other permits are needed that the town didn't make sure were obtained? Like a wetland permit, like a alteration of terrain permit, like stormwater pollution control plan. If we don't, I mean, as subdivision and site plans, we make sure all that stuff happens. But if we're doing a driveway, well, do we have to? I think we should, to protect the person building the driveway.
So why wouldn't we do that if we,
Well,
for instance, up on River Road, we had to
Road.
have permission for that driveway, 2 driveway permit
Off Colby.
for a piece of driveway that was already on their property in the first place. They had to update and get that permitted from us. Why wouldn't that be necessary? You know, all driveway permits should be identified and run through somebody. Instead of just
agree.
saying, go ahead, do it. I mean, my son, when he put the new driveway out onto 149, had to get permission from the state to do that.
Yeah,
Where-
every
where's
curb
his
cut,
drive?
we have to get a permit from the DPW.
Right, so the DPW would police that, or at least go
The
look at it.
DPW is gonna police the entrance. They're gonna police the driveway
If
200
I-
feet back.
If I know,
They may, but I don't know if they
if I
should.
know Benji's gonna look and say.
Fire department
"Aha,
should.
this ain't
Fire
gonna
department's
work."
gonna make sure it's passable, it's structurally,
They're gonna make sure it meets the NFPA
right,
geometry
that's
requirements.
what it wanted, and structural requirements.
I don't think when I built the house, the town did anything. That came out onto a state road. I think it was the
Right.
state came and inspected it.
Right.
State road, that's. a
That's what
different
I
story.
said, my son did that,
Right.
so that he doesn't have to go all the way around Perkins Pond to get home.
Where's his driveway?
It's off Peacock Hill.
His main driveway, he's 12 Peacock Hill,
Right,
but if you go down to,
towards Perkins Pond.
yeah, it's right there on the left. First,
Just around the corner.
yeah.
The problem is that's
The
kind
new
of a
driveway.
dangerous corner because a lot of people do not do that. They go right across the road.
Yeah, it says do not enter.
Right,
Someone stole the sign, they put another sign up.
right. But,
Oh, to get down Peacock Hill.
they go down
From that
Peacock Hill
direction.
to go up over the
Right.
mountain or, yeah, they don't,
Well,
I don't know why anybody would, because the road isn't very good.
I drive 149 every day, and I don't remember seeing your son's driveway, that's
Well, you
what I'm
know,
saying.
who was it,
People just built the house,
yeah,
and then just stone walls your son's property line.
right. The new house,
Yeah.
Judy
Judy's
Yeah.
daughter's
Rogers'
house.
daughter,
Judy Rogers' daughter built that house. His house, his
driveway's just
driveway
beyond,
just right after that, coming this way.
coming back toward the center.
There's a big sign that says 12 Peacock Hill Stockhouse on it.
Okay, I believe, I saw the sign, I didn't see the driveway. Go- Okay. 'Cause the other day I was going around that corner, the sun was in my eyes, and the guy that works for him was walking down that
Oh,
side of
yeah,
the road.
yeah,
Yeah,
he's,
he scrambled up the hill, I did see him, I wasn't gonna hit him, but he scrambled up the hill pretty fast. That is a dangerous corner,
yeah, it is.
and I would not wanna walk to work around that corner. Anyway, that's one of my concerns with roads is,
Concerning development on
Um,
a private road or
yeah,
Class 6.
Well, they don't want them to develop them. We don't want to have to take them over really because it's a added expense.
Oh, yeah, we
You
don't
got
wanna take 'em
12
over.
miles of roads.
no, we don't wanna take them over, that's for sure.
I mean,
No way.
I mean, you know our
But
position
did-
with
what
that.
did we-
All we can do is make a recommendation to the selectmen.
Right.
Right.
What did we passed a private road issue. I can't remember what it said.
We,
Passed, but it was, we presented it to selectmen presented it to town. Town approved it. And then the town council said it's not legal. It's still on the books, it hasn't been
oh,
changed.
that's our zoning ordinance, how to
Yes.
create a private road,
Yes, how
yes.
to create a private road.
right.
So there's that conflict between our two documents, because
Right.
one says you can now,
The other one says
well,
you
if
can't.
if it ever
Right.
got updated, and then the other says you can't. So would it benefit us to look at how to permit that with stringent parameters? Because right now, after that meeting we had, there's some guidelines that have been given to Romeo. You have to meet these qualifications in order for this to happen.
I never saw the checklist.
Well, it was talked about. I don't know if
Right.
they ever get fulfilled or not.
I don't
But
know.
I'm just questioning whether, is it easier for us to give some guidelines pertaining to the issue, or continue on like we're doing and then have zoning ZBA and the selectmen make decisions on that?
Well, we don't want to have to maintain these class 6 roads. They go out and they buy a 50-acre piece of land out in the boondocks. It's an old road that's been thrown up. And
Or,
the
yeah,
town doesn't want to have to maintain these roads.
correct. So is there a means for us to say, all right, so there's an existing class 6 road you want to build on, like Jewett as an example. There's a couple, none of those have, is that a class 6 road?
Class 6, yeah.
That's a class 6.
Okay, so they don't have frontage on a class 5,
Right,
No.
so they automatically have to go before the selectmen and the zoning board. before,
Yes.
and
The
maybe
town's
even
not
us.
gonna maintain it, though.
So,
They've
cor-
gotta-
correct, I'm not expecting the town to
No,
maintain,
the
but
town,
how do
town
we-
maintaining it's not the subject.
if, say, for instance, on that road, all the abutters say, we would like to upgrade this road to be a class 5 or higher, class whatever road. They're gonna pay for that whole thing,
That's when,
bring it up to speed,
that's when,
so they'd have to
like you
do a
said, you
whole
can do the,
subdivision site plan
There,
deal.
there is a way to do that through the RSA's, to petition the selectmen to upgrade it from a class 6 to a class 5. And the selectmen have the way, and I don't remember exactly what it is. It's in the white book.
essentially, everybody on that road pays for it,
Correct.
and the
Right.
town just adds $5,000 a year onto the tax bill as a round number, until it's paid for.
Right.
But the minute you tell them that, then they don't wanna do it.
Who, the people on the
The
road?
people on the road, yeah.
Right. Well, see, that's,
Well, we-
see, that's the
I
natural
did-
deterrent that Sherry's concerned about, is that how we're gonna permit this, and now all of a sudden we have to maintain all these roads, when if there's a covenant or an association on that particular road that says, no, we're not, you have X, you made a commitment for X amount of year, you know, it's similar to like in Essex, Mass, there's this one little development, they had a 100-year lease on all these properties. And the 100-year lease came up, and the town was gonna say, no more lease. All those houses have to go. Some of them, 50,000 little cottage, some of them of recent years, $500,000, $700,000 homes on this leased piece of property.
Yeah.
Now, to my knowledge, that didn't go through. They continued the 100-year lease deal for that piece of property.
I don't think the town taking over the road is the issue, because I'm sure we can stop that from happening. That's easy. That's just
Well, the thing is,
covered in the right to
I
use
brought
it.
up, I think, 3 or 4 meetings ago, was that you deal with realtors who are trying to make money.
Right.
And this one piece of property I looked at on Jewett Road, it was like, wow, this looks like a pretty good place. Until I looked at the overview and all the wetlands in there, et cetera. It's just like the piece of property down here next to, the Hipplers, down in that hollow. There's 6.5 acres of land. Beautiful. It's 3/4 wetlands.
Right.
So that's why it isn't selling, but a realtor is gonna say, you know, this is an awesome place.
Yeah.
So you can tell now that piece on Jewett says this was denied by the zoning board, that you can't build on this. Doesn't tell you why, but they're still listing it for
Yeah.
X amount of dollars.
I'm not gonna talk about realtors when the mic is on.
I'm sorry.
It won't be pretty.
But it's.
I have clients calling me up
it's-
all the time about those things.
It's wide as far as not just trying to sell a piece of property, so how many people can you sleep in this house? Which comes into our rental issue. You know, I don't know how many condos are in a condo association in Bartlett that have 2 bedrooms, but they can seat 15 people. And they're getting, and I don't know how that septic system works for all those buildings.
Not very good.
No.
Unless they're on a big system, but it's pumping it or something.
But anyways. So what's our thoughts on the procedure then? Just look at it and say, yeah, give it to the selectmen. I like that look.
I think when
I'll read that.
they get
I'll read it.
when they get the variance for the ZBA to build on a class 5 or private road, that, I mean, all we can do is make recommendations, we need to make specific recommendations.
Right. And is it,
The road has to get brought up so they can get low fire and ambulance and stuff in, because if somebody,
correct?
you know,
Right.
and they still have to sign some type of waiver
So they
that,
still gotta sign a
We're not-
releasing
yeah.
the town of any liability.
Right,
any
right.
liability, but I mean, if they got a road that you can't get a fire truck in on and the house is burning down,
Well,
obviously, they need to have it up to
That's gonna be,
some standard.
that's gonna be our recommendations.
I think it has to be a case-by-case
And it-
issue.
And there's gotta be,
You we mentioned last time Worthley Road and what took place there.
That's-
And then, you know, I have a friend who lives on Ann's Drive, and he's got a big enough lot that he could subdivide to put a second house on, but can he?
No. Subdividing and building houses are two different subjects.
Correct. So that's what I've told him.
It's not gonna happen.
If we put all the land that's open into conservation, we wouldn't have to worry about this.
Yeah, we can't take people's land away from them.
Well, Romeo brought up that point of that one piece of property that has no access, unless you have a landowner agreement, it's a landlocked piece of property, that has a little cabin on it. He can't do anything with the cabin, he can't fix it up, he can't do anything, because it doesn't meet any other qualifications to make it a dwelling.
Yeah, but here's what happened. Up until, and it wasn't that long ago, when the zoning was first started where they had this bona fide gift rule. Chuck knows it. Any bona fide gift lot didn't have to have any frontage.
Right.
It had zero. It could be a mile out in the woods. You could subdivide a lot as a bona fide gift lot.
Could be any size.
You could be, right.
But you gotta have a right of way in.
You gotta have a easement to get in there, but they were, some of them were very vague. And that's all it was. It wasn't frontage by any stretch.
Right.
It wasn't even good access most times,
No.
or sometimes.
And that only got eliminated, what, in the late eighties,
No, it was after that. It was in the 90s.
nineties? Yeah. So it wasn't that long ago.
Okay.
So that's how that lot got created, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And, because at one time, the parents owned the big piece and one of the kids owned that little piece and built that little
Mm-hmm.
structure.
Right.
And the parents didn't care how they get in there because it was a kid, but the minute they sold it to two different people that weren't related, things changed fast.
Right.
I got two things to do before next meeting. Before end of next week, I will email you guys something on the roads and something on the, modify this. I promise. Next Thursday night. At least an outline of my thoughts on roads.
So you wanna meet next Thursday?
No, I'm gonna email you, I'm gonna email you something next
Oh.
Thursday. I don't wanna meet next Thursday.
Okay.
No. Don't get carried away now, jeez.
No, I thought you were getting carried.
Oh, no. I'm not. I could get carried away and appoint a subcommittee and put Chuck on it. We've done it before. Meet every Tuesday night or something like that, wasn't it? A couple of times we did that. I had a subcommittee on the open space thing, we met every Tuesday night or something like that, every week, every day, every, whatever day it was. But we got it done. We done?
I think so.
I move to adjourn.
I have a motion on the table.
Second,
We have a second. All in favor?
yes.
I won't be
Opposed?
at next meeting.
Abstain. Good thing we have 4 alternates, maybe one of them will show up again.